Welcome to the Exploring Potential podcast, where we delve into the realm of unique and novel ideas within organizations. Join us as we uncover the driving force behind innovation and success by engaging in thought-provoking conversations and stories with some of the brightest minds in various fields. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us and welcome to the Exploring Potential podcast. I'm your host, Brett King. Today, we're going to focus on something that so many organizations and brands claim to stand for, but few actually live. That is a sincere and actionable commitment to quality when it comes to operations, products, services, and people. We've got a really exciting special guest I'll be introducing very shortly, who has not only embodied this concept personally, but successfully embedded it as a key philosophy into his organization. We'll learn from him what it takes to accomplish a true commitment to quality within an organization and how that looks in the real world and the benefits that come along with that. But first, commitment to quality. So what is quality of a product or service in the sense that we're discussing it today? Let's define it as trustworthiness or safety, consistency or reliability, meeting, exceeding expectations, and importantly, sparking joy for the end users, as well as critically, those that are involved in producing or creating it. That, for our purposes, is quality. This might look like how we serve our customers at the point of sale, to how we design or even physically manufacture our products and goods, even down to how those goods or products are displayed or positioned within a store. So committing to quality at all levels of an organization can yield benefits that affect not only the bottom line, but also customer satisfaction, employee morale, and our company's reputation, of course. We want to talk about how and why to solidify an actual sincere, no exceptions, no holds barred commitment to quality, and how that can take your business and organization to the next level. So before we get into our guest segment, which I'm really excited about, really start to dig deeper into how you can bring this commitment to life within your organization, we're going to take a quick pause to recognize today's show sponsor. So today's episode of the Exploring Potential podcast is proudly presented by Learnleaf, providing the highest quality employee training, onboarding, and development solutions for all cannabis verticals across the US and Canada. Learnleaf helps cannabis retailers, cultivators, and manufacturers attract and retain top talent, standardize onboarding and training, and increase revenue while decreasing operational costs. You can learn more at learnleaf.io. Now, let's really dive into what it means to live an organizational commitment to quality with someone who truly knows. I'm very excited today to have on our show a visionary organizational leader and model of commitment to quality, Ryan Ratzloff. Ryan is the president and founder of Lion Labs, a Michigan-based cannabis processing company known for its award-winning range of products in wellness, edibles, and concentrates. Before diving into the cannabis industry, Ryan had actually built a solid 12-year career at PepsiCo and earned a degree in food marketing and consumer packaged goods sales from Western Michigan University. These experiences provided him with the practical knowledge to turn Lion Labs into a market leader in just 5 short years. Apart from his professional achievements, family comes first for Ryan, which is something I very much appreciate and live with as well. He's happily married to Callie, and they are the proud parents of 2 children, Leo and Violet. The values of family life infuse Ryan's business ethos, creating a balanced approach to his entrepreneurial ventures. Ryan has a multifaceted vision for Lion Lab's future. His commitment to innovation is not just about staying ahead in the market, it's about continuously elevating the standards of quality in the cannabis industry as a whole. Ryan believes that the foundation of any successful company lies not only in its products, but also in its culture, which, if you know me at all, you know that means a lot to me. He's cultivated a workplace environment that champions creativity, teamwork, and a genuine dedication to quality. This approach ensures that Lion Labs doesn't just create products. It pioneers solutions that genuinely improve people's lives. Ryan is steering Lion Labs toward a future where the brands stand as a beacon of quality and innovation in the entire cannabis industry. Ryan, it's an absolute pleasure. Welcome to the show, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, Brett. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before, we really dig into the meat of things and get too far, I would love it if you wouldn't mind just tell us a little more about your history and background and how Lion Labs really began.
Sure. So, like you mentioned, I went to Western Michigan where I developed a keen love for cannabis, as a lot of other Broncos probably did around the same time. And that carried with me, to this day. But also, food and beverage was a big interest of mine in marketing and sales. And so Western at the time had the only food and marketing program in the country. Had a hugely successful program for them, and it still is today. And so I was happy to be part of the program. I got picked right out of that program to the executive campus training program at PepsiCo. So, that was kind of a fast track to executive leadership at Pepsi. I think I did, 13 or so roles in the 12 years I was there. And during the career there were parts that were, I wasn't being challenged. They were a little slower. Around that same time, Michigan allowed for the medical cannabis program to start around 08, 09. And so as soon as that became available, we started dabbling and we started growing and had a couple friends that could benefit from it. So we had, as a caregiver, had some patients, and it kind of snowballed, much like everything else. If we're going to do something, kind of poured everything into it and just started reading everything and going to every grow lesson, and anyone that would teach us anything, if we could take one little thing away, it was a success. And so we just, poured myself into that. Then the laws started shifting again, and it looked like we were going to go the way of California and Colorado, Oregon, where there was a more pronounced medical platform with retail sales and licensed cultivation, and we could kind of come out of that gray space a little bit and make it a little more legitimate. So we built out more commercial grows that could hit a bunch of benchmarks of success with yields and difficulty of strains and automation, but decided that branding flower was really difficult. And at the same time, concentrates were kind of becoming more popular. Once we tried a couple concentrates, there was no looking back for us. We just poured everything we had into live resin, which wasn't really a thing yet. We had to help manufacture some of the own equipment to get us there. Nothing was quite suited in the way we wanted to do it. And so, my partner and I, we just put our heads together and started manufacturing equipment that would make the products that we wanted to make the way we wanted to make it. The goal was to make the best concentrates and carts available, period. And at the time, I was still gainfully employed at Pepsi, and my, business partner didn't need to, suck money out of this. And we were lucky enough that we could just keep throwing everything we had back into it over and over and over again until we were able to build out a decent brand. And that's really where Element started. We walked around and looked at, went out west and talked to retail owners and saw what concentrates they were putting on the markets, and didn't really trust the gray space and some of the operators once we got to know them, and wanted to create a brand that focused around transparency and quality. And then when licensing became a realistic opportunity, we created Lion Labs, and I had to solicit the help of a couple other friends. We wanted to build out, like PepsiCo has, a portfolio, and not just, rest all on just the Element brand that we just started and didn't really have much of any sales for. It was more or less a concept and a practice and processing. So we brought some other partners on and created a wellness brand, an edible brand, and our concentrate brand, and jumped into the licensed market as one of the first in Michigan to build out a full service processing facility.
That's awesome. And one thing that really stuck out to me as you were talking, from the very beginning, I believe you were talking, of course, about concentrates, because that's where it all started with Element. You just straight up said yourself, right? Our goal was to make the best.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like this, obviously we're here to talk about commitment to quality. It seems like that came from the very beginning. You're like, we're not going to do this unless it's the best.
Yeah, right. I mean, it was, to say there were weed snobs is probably an understatement, right? We're hunting from the best growers every day, the best cuts, the best strains, what's the newest thing, what tastes the best, who's, leveraging the tools they have to get the loudest flavor, the best flavor. And that's what we're chasing because we know that's what the end consumer ultimately wants. If you're making something that's superior in taste and quality and reputation, I think there's always going to be a home for you. There's always a home for the highest quality, and that's what we want to consume. So to make anything less than that would be disingenuous to what we would want to spend our time doing. Um, everyone at Lion Labs, for the most part, at least initially, um, took big pay cuts to come work here. I had several other friends from Pepsi that were, senior level executives that just were burned out and not happy. The company had gone through a lot of reorganizations, and a lot of people decided around that time it was a good time to leave. Several had just quit of their own, accord to not work. And we said, well, hey, here's what we're working on. I said, well, I'd love to be part of that. I don't care. I'm not trying to get the same salary and bonus structure that we had at a Fortune 50 company, but let me bring all my best practices to help manufacture, manage sales, or, and that's really been kind of the ethos going forward was everyone's on board because we love what we do. We get to come here every day and make the world's greatest cannabis products. And a lot of what we built here is with family and friends that share the same passion.
It's got to be infectious and exciting to come into every day. I've so much more I want to dig into, but real quick, just for those that may not be familiar, whether with the cannabis space or with Lion Lab specifically, you all are a bit unique in that you had mentioned kind of the Pepsi model, right? You wanted a portfolio of brands. Could you just give just a very basic overview of what it is that you produce, the products and brands that fall under the Lion Labs umbrella?
Yeah, sure. So we're a full service processor. We don't grow and we don't do retail by design. We want to stay in our lane and be a process manufacturer. So we don't do flower sales, but we have 4 brands. Elements, our concentrate brand that makes high-end concentrates, pre-rolls, and vape carts. Dream is our edible brand. Dream makes caramels, chocolates, and chocolates will be coming soon. And Pot Dots. Pot Dots is one of our brands. Basically, it's a without getting myself in legal trouble, it's a small 1 milligram, candy coated piece of chocolate, unique to the cannabis space. I think it's the first 1 milligram edible available in North America. Widely successful, modeled, similarly after a very popular candy. Rise Wellness is our wellness brand. Rise is portfolio contains tablets, tinctures. We also have a new topical coming out, and then Loco is our more budget friendly brand, which does pre rolls and concentrates.
Perfect. Yeah, I appreciate you going through that. Just for any that may not be familiar. And I'm sure many are familiar with the brands, but may not know, what house they come from. And that same level of care and commitment, I know, goes across all brands that you all are managing. So turning that attention now back to quality, in your case, in the cannabis industry, particularly early on, and you hinted toward this, right? Particularly with concentrate products, there was a lack of trust, safety, quality in the market, especially with so many legal gray areas initially. How did you navigate or approach this to ensure that you were doing things the right way? And again, with this commitment to quality in mind?
Yeah, so when we started, we were making a texture that people were unfamiliar with. Shatter was really popular, which is, a really firm substance. It gets its name where if you were to drop it, it would break into many pieces. And the reason it would do that is because it was devoid of terpenes, which drive a lot of the flavor. So the process we were using left us with a product that was like a more applesauce consistency, really high terpene content, really flavorful, substantially more than the other products in the market. Other people were starting to make similar products, but as a result of how you manufacture it, there could be sometimes unwanted residual products left behind, butane, or they call it mystery oil, or other unwanted things. So one of the things that we did right away was partner with the testing lab and made a commitment to small batch test everything we made. We put their logo on every package we sold that said this was certified and tested, and here's all the information, and they're available to you, as a way to tell consumers, hey, look, here's what you're getting. Here are all the cannabinoids, here are the terpenes, here are the profiles, and it was lab safe approved for consumption. That's something we still do today. We provide as much information as humanly possible because we care, and we assume that other consumers would as well. Some don't, but you rest assured, if you do, we're here for you. It's safe.
You're there. Now, was it just curious? Was that testing? Obviously, testing laws have changed as things have progressed. Were you doing that before it was required? Were you guys like proactively seeking out the places to test?
Oh yeah, there were no requirements. This was the caregiver medical market in its infancy. We just were good friends with the guys that ran the lab, and we had a great working relationship. And yeah, nothing was required. Even still today, we're doing substantially more testing that's required, but it's important to us, and we think it's important to the consumers. And so, we'll continue to do that. We have some really big things we're doing in the future that we're excited to revise the whole label and add substantial more, layers of information soon.
That's awesome. That's and not something that you're being legally told, hey, you have to do this, but you're recognizing this is what the consumer wants. This is also what we want. And we're willing to go that extra mile to provide that layer of quality, that assurance, like we talked about earlier, that safety almost and consistency. I think that really speaks, just from my perspective to, again, your absolute commitment to quality, doing things like that I'm sure there's a cost to it. There's definitely a time cost to it. I'm sure there's a dollar cost to it, right? But you're willing to do that because of, who you are set out to be, which again is to create the best products. I love that. And you hinted to this toward too, but I have to ask, just because I'm so passionate about the work that I do. I know just from talking with you that you're passionate about the work that you do. How much does passion for what you do play into the overall quality of the product or service from your perspective? Like, out within your company, without the company, right? Like, how does that passion really play in?
It's critical, I think, not just for me, but for the whole team. And not just like the senior leadership team or the founders, really for everyone. It's hard to get up and grind like we do every day if you don't love what you're doing and you don't believe in what you're doing. And we do, right? Like I mentioned earlier, like we're literally coming here every day to try to continually push the bar and make better products, taste better, look better, perform better. We're pushing the industry and the hardware manufacturers to make better hardware. And that's what's driving us. And it's not just in one category. We think that, the topical we just rolled out is best in class ever. It's the best topical ever made. And that some of our edibles are, the pot does it. I think it's one of the best edibles ever made for a bunch of different reasons. And same with, some of the other concentrates and pre-rolls we've put out. We're innovating and leading that way because we're focused on it. Because, like you said, we have a lot of passion. We care about, everything we touch. Because we can be the best. It's exciting to be part of, an industry in its infancy. We can't send stuff out of state. We can't take loans from banks. We can't do a lot of the things that a normal company or a big company would do, which in a lot of ways is good. It's keeping Fortune 500 companies out from plastering the market and suppressing us. I mean, basically, it's like, it reminds me of like the early auto industry, a whole bunch of people trying to make really great things and competing with each other over and over and over to outdo each other. And a lot of companies stressing quality as a way to establish who they are. Right. We've been successful doing the same thing, and you have to be consistent doing it and have high standards. And it doesn't always work that way. But if you're honest and true to your consumers when you make a mistake and say, hey, yeah, we made a mistake, or that didn't come out how we thought it would, it's on us. We got you on this. Don't worry about it. It resonates with the customers. But luckily, that hasn't really been much of an issue for us.
Right.
But we're passionate about our service too. If somebody has a bad experience, we guarantee that we'll make it up to you. Which is a big differentiator from a lot of our competitors. We don't see that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's a huge part. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's a huge part of quality too, right? It's not just the quality of the product, but the whole service and the whole operation. If somebody does have a bad experience, which, like you said, for you all, because of what you do, is rare, right? If at all, but part of quality, as a consumer, like we talked about at the very beginning of the episode, as I was kind of teeing things up, is that safety. That feeling of, that you're being cared for by whatever product or service it is. And so if something does go wrong, that's a big part of quality.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. And that's what we want everyone to know too. Like, with anything we sell at Lion Labs, we guarantee that you're going to enjoy the experience. And if not, let us know and we'll give you something else to try to make it right. We're here for the long term.
Yep. What are you've started talking about this? I'm just curious if you have any other examples of steps that you've taken within manufacturing or production or operations overall to help ensure the quality of the product, whether it's things you're being asked to do or things that you all have, I thought the example of the testing when you weren't required, that's a perfect example. Are there other things like that you all are doing?
I mean, to share how we create products, is easy, right? The goal typically, with edibles, for example, when we rolled out caramels, the goal was to make the best caramel ever. We have a professional kitchen and staff. So for 3 to 4 months, or until we feel it's right, let's come into work every day and try to make the greatest caramel anyone's ever had. So look at every recipe that exists and get the best source of best ingredients we can find locally. If we can't get them locally, then fly them in from wherever they're the best. If the vanilla bean comes in from Madagascar, and sea salt that we like the most comes salt, I'm not sure where it's from, but flown in from some sea. And everything else is locally sourced, sugar and dairy, and from the better suppliers in Michigan, with recipes that we just beat to death until we went, this is the best caramel I've ever had. Now it's with THC in it. High quality THC, not food grade junk, the best stuff that we make and sell. That should be what's in this.
Right.
And then, we give samples to everyone, right? So we want everyone else to buy in and believe it. And when they do, it's easy for them to sell and to get behind too, whether it's a salesperson or a marketing person or a bud tender or a friend and family, whoever it is. And I think that rubs off, right? When we're like, we made the best caramels in the world, try them. They're like, oh, I love these. It's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
They feel it too.
And likely hard to stop eating, which could be an issue.
Yeah, but that's our approach to, it's no different than when we, come up with a new consistency for concentrates or a vape product, or, a pre-roll or a topical or a tincture. We look at what exists in the market, what's missing from the market, what's happened in a traditional industry, what's the best case scenario for any topical anywhere in the world. Okay, well, how can we make that unique for us and do it better? And then that's how we think about making and crafting everything. Nothing here is, and that, to our own detriment in a lot of cases. It's easy to buy equipment to help you make gummies. Well, we don't make gummies because nobody wants more gummies. And if we did, it would be a really unique version of a gummy that doesn't exist today. Right. So when you do that, a lot of times you have to also manufacture some own equipment to make those products, and the standard equipment isn't available, and you have to tweak things and use different pieces of borrowed technology in unique ways because the average equipment that you use isn't usually designed to make the world's best product. It makes average.
Right.
So
which doesn't fly for you all.
No, which is, when we laugh about it all the time, like, why do we have to make all the most difficult things? It'd be easy just to make average products, but then we wouldn't be happy with ourselves. So
Well, that's a really good transition into, so, you obviously, you take so much time in your R&D, and before you put out a product, you clearly put in, you and your team, but I also know you personally, right, put in so much time in the lab and saying, how do we make this even better? How do we make the best caramel possible, and then take the best THC possible and infuse that, right? Somebody who may not see the same opportunities you and I see might look at that and say, wow, there's a lot of investment that goes into this, a lot of time that goes into this, like you said, possibly to your own detriment, right? But what I want to ask is, what are the tangible business impacts you've experienced as a direct result of your relentless pursuit of this quality? How have you benefited, and how could others? Because I think, again, somebody could look at that and say, well, that's too much. Why don't we just make gummies? It's easy, whatever. And that's not you all at all. And it must be working to some extent, right? So I'm curious, what impacts do you see as a result of sticking to that, relentless pursuit of quality?
Well, for us, it's helped shape the culture a little bit internally, and in the field with consumers and retail partners and growing partners. We're easy to work with. Because everyone, kind of like we mentioned earlier, shares the same passion. And when our team sees everyone working really hard to goal, and we ask for support and help from a lot of our teammates to help design these products or help figure out how we can scale it, making things on a small level is easy, making millions of them is difficult. When people get to participate in that process and then hand it off, and we're trying to build a big bench, so we're asking for a lot of people to be well versed in a lot of the different things we do, and they're complicated and they're intensive learning processes a lot of times. We see those people commit and get excited because they're not just doing a simple task, they're doing a complicated task. It's adding to what we're doing, and they know that we're just going to keep adding stuff to it, and that role's going to get bigger. So from like a management aspect, I think it's really great because it helps elevate our people. The most tangible things are when we're in market and the products are uniquely better or have a quality that consumers really understand or the bud tenders relate to. They'll sing our praises for us, which makes it easier to maintain sales, maintain shelf presence, be successful at retail, and maintain consistent sales. A lot of our sales for a lot of our products are slowly growing month after month because the quality, and we see competitors falling off because a lot of them are doing the exact same things, and they're competing on value, which is hard to maintain a consumer base that walks in and go, what's the cheapest? Well, that's what I want.
Right.
And the people walking in and say, what's the best? Well, we're here for you. And, there's a premium for it, but those people enjoy it. And we think as the markets continue to get developed and grow and become stabilized, quality is what's going to stand out. And so, it helps us from sales growth, helps us internally from management and frontline, employees getting behind and signing on and getting on board. It's easier to ask people to commit and work hard for things that they believe to be the best, and they're, like to manufacture. When we process something that's amazing and really stands out, everyone gets excited about it. Everyone wants to try it. And a lot of times we'll give samples to everyone and say, hey, this is like some of the best things we've done. Here, everyone should take part in this and share this. It elevates the room and elevates the company, and people get excited and feel passionate about it, and that's contagious. And it definitely helps morale and motivation in our facility, which is important because at the end of the day, we're manufacturers, and that can be monotonous and boring sometimes. So keeps things fresh.
Keeps things fresh. I like that. And you really moved into the next thing I wanted to ask you about is how do you generate that buy-in and commitment? And I think, from what you had said about celebrating the successes together, hey, we made the greatest thing we've made, everybody try it, everybody, so you're sharing those wins, it sounds like. And I think something else I heard you say, the word that popped into my head was, this level of ownership that you've created for your employees who know and feel they're creating the best of the best, but you're also empowering them to do that. You're not holding them back. You're not holding their hand. You're creating opportunities. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that an accurate read?
Yeah, I mean, we're moving too big and too fast to micromanage anyone, and so we're empowering our employees. We are trying to foster, a place to work where there's a clear path for you to grow. We expect, our company to grow, and we want to be the best in category in class through the whole country, not just Michigan. And those are we're making those steps. So when we have our team buying on and we're elevating them, we have a lot of young people, we have a lot of really senior executives that are helping coach with a lot of great, solid foundations, coming through a Fortune 50 company. And we're sharing those with the newer, younger class of employees that we have and giving them the skills and to elevate their careers and grow. We've brought people off the streets that are part-time employees, and they've made equity positions here. And that's available to everyone, right? So there's a clear path for success for anyone to come into this company and get a seat at the table and make a huge difference and grow and have a career and move through the country and do these things. And, we want everyone to know that works here, and anyone that doesn't work here, that's an opportunity to come in and be part of.
Right.
Not to get off on a tangent with that, but that's what we're looking to, and that's what we're trying to grow. And that's one of the big carrots that we want everyone to be aware of, is that we don't have time to micromanage you. It's not sink or swim. We're gonna catch you if you fall, but you need to learn from those mistakes and get stronger and move forward.
And it's clearly embedded in your culture. You've clearly made that a model. Like you said, we're moving too fast to do it any other way almost. But that's where the fact that you have had, employees come in part-time and now make equity partners. I mean, that just speaks to the culture that, you and your leadership team have really laid out for the company. And, I know that's not what this podcast is necessarily super focused on, but I'm always going to talk about company culture. I can never stop. And I think that's something that, you all have built such a strong culture of dedicated employees because of that empowerment and because of those opportunities that you're giving. You're giving people rope, you're saying, go ahead, try this. And if you get in trouble, we got you. But at the same time, we're not going to take the scissors out of your hands and, do this for you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so far it's, we've grown at the right pace so far.
Right.
Got a lot of big plans, so hopefully we can maintain a safe pace that doesn't get us in trouble. But so far, so good.
Right. Well, I want to ask too, as we wind down the last couple questions here, how does it, especially in the cannabis industry, right? How does educating the consumer, your employees, or perhaps even external bud tenders, because you guys don't have retail, right? Your products are sold in retail stores. How does educating the general public, including those that are going to be selling your product, play into the perceived quality of your brands, right? Because it's more than just giving them a box with a logo. How do you feel educating those individuals plays into that?
It's really important, especially because we're not making distillate carts and gummies, which everyone understands, and flour, right? Those are the three easiest things to sell because they're most known throughout the whole industry. We're making complex, high-end products that are a lot of times niche and require a certain amount of education to the consumer or the bud tender or anyone that's even people that are, go from cannabis curious to connoisseurs. Things are moving so fast that they may not have all the answers they think they do. And that's, a big detriment to why cannabis, is not federally legal. Research can't be done. There's a ton of information that isn't known about the plant, and we're driving a lot of that education. We have a research partnership with Lake Superior State University where we are funding their cannabis chemistry program. So we have a big plaque on the wing of the building, and we've made a serious commitment to helping drive research that we hopefully soon will be publishing some white papers to share with the community and educate at a high level things that are unknown. We have a lot of things behind that we think are going to be extremely successful from an education standpoint for the whole world to understand, that we're really excited about coming out in the next month or so. And then, on the product end, we have a team that just focuses on education. And we're just building it out now, and that'll be the main focus of what they do is in store, full time, educating the staff, managers, owners of our retail stores and cultivation partners as to who Element is, why it's great, why it's different, why it's better, why the topicals work differently and are unique, how you use our cannabis tablet platform from Rise to build your own ratios. We're talking about a lot of complex products that we make and manufacture, and the education piece is critical to our success. It's easier when you make great products that people like, but even still, to get them to make that leap and to spend dollars on it, they have to have a certain understanding. Most people won't just buy things they know nothing about. So how we
Right.
design point of sale is important. We're just making a big push into some really great point of sale to help educate consumers. We do a lot of brand events at retail. We have several teams. We're adding, we have 5 or 6 full teams of brand ambassadors that are focused on each brand and educating store and consumers to um, caramels and pot dots and element and rise over and over and over again across the entire state and in other states as we move there too. That'll always be an important component of how we expand and how we move. We're also confined by what we can do. I can't take a TV ad out. Radio
Right.
spots are limited and aren't reaching the right consumers, especially for the niche products we make. So it's a constantly evolving, difficult thing for us to do and determine how do we spend those dollars to educate and where. And we're pretty limited in what we can do. If we could take out targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram and really speak to people we know are consumers that fit a certain demographic, it'd be easier. But they don't like us either. So
Right. Not quite there yet. But
no.
there's something special about that, in that I think when you're creating innovative products, especially that, there is an education component, regardless of, even if you could buy targeted ads, right? You're still, I could see, you're still not just putting your brand out there and saying, yeah, we're the best. It's the education of we're the best because X, Y, and Z. This is the best topical because there's no scent. It goes in, it's effective, right? Like all these different benefits to your products. It feels like even if you could do those mass buys or if they made sense, there's still this educational component that would really help take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The lucky part too is people see something new and it's exciting. It stands out in the store. It's something they haven't seen or it's presented a different way, um, or it's priced differently. Hopefully that gets a little bit of attention and people ask questions about it at the very least.
Absolutely. So winding down here, do you have any tactical or practical advice for, if I'm listening to this, I'm in the C-suite, I'm a director, and I really, I'm hearing what you're saying. I want to take this more seriously. Do you have any practical tips for a company that wants to create or maintain a culture of commitment to quality in the way that you have brought Lion Labs?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily something that I could say, do this or don't do that. I think it has to be in you. You have
Yeah.
to want to be great and to make great products. It has to be inherent. If you'd been given a company to run and it's not something you're passionate about, I don't know that you can get there. At least I couldn't help you or tell you how to get there. Our experience or my personal experience is building this comes from living it and sleeping it, and I mean it's in my head 24/7. I
Right.
don't sleep much. I'll get excited about some new idea that we have, and for weeks I won't sleep because as soon as I shut my eyes, I think about it constantly, and it has to be in you. Um, and then so say if you do have that and you are really passionate about it, and the brand or the company or the service you're providing, um, it's somewhat cliche, I think, but if you can surround yourself with people that can play a huge role where you're not your strongest, and let those people thrive, and if they share the same passion, I think it's hard to fail at that point, right? And
Right.
I've been so lucky to convince people that I know that are better managers or organizationally, better at, different aspects of running a business and surrounding myself with those people, uh, that's the key. That's been our key, right? We
Right.
have a really strong team of people that, one, really care and buy into everything we're doing, and two, are also really good at what they do, and they're able to focus. And they've done it at a high level, and they've learned from that and what's important to them in life. And it's never the money. It's either coming in and doing what they want to do and having the freedom to do what they want to do to be successful, or getting to spend their time doing something they're really passionate that we all agree is the right direction forward. It's kind of all fallen into place that way. And if there is a company or business or product or service that you feel that strongly about, and you can surround yourself with those people, I mean, that's the success that's worked for us. I can't see it working any other way.
Right. I love what you said. And my two big highlights from that, passion and talent. Have that passion and surround yourself with those talented people. The culture gets built around that. And then you've got a culture of, quality, of commitment to quality.
Yeah.
And again, you all are absolute proof that that's possible. And I think what you shared was perfect. I think those are the right takeaways, right? Because if you're not in it, if that passion doesn't exist, or you're not willing to bring in the right talent, you're not going to get there. But if you are, there's a path. There's a path for you.
Yeah. In this industry, there's a lot of hubris, and we see people want to be the best and fail, and they haven't built a good team, or they've missed the mark, or they don't know what they're doing, and they didn't have the skill set to do what they're doing. A lot of people reach and try to do everything. Oh, we got to be vertical. You got to be vertical, and that never made sense to us.
Right.
We grew for a decade, and we've got great people on our team that have PhDs in biology, our chief scientific officer, and we have people that worked in our grows for so long and are so passionate about it. But at the end of the day, we're we want to process and manufacture and go to retail with these products,
Right.
and we're staying in our lane. And one of our biggest strengths, I think, is saying no. We get offered and propositioned constantly to go to new states, to partner with these people, to do collabs on this, try this product, bring this brand, buy this grow, and you can make money doing all those things, but if it takes away from your core goal and vision, then you kind of, you're start flailing and don't really have the direction moving forward that, you need to drive the company forward. So,
Right.
That's the other component. Just stay focused on what your vision is. Don't let all those other things distract you.
Stay focused, and that ability to say no, which is one of the harder things to do in business, especially as an entrepreneur, especially, if you're starting up, saying no is about one of the most difficult things to do, but also one of the most powerful things.
Yeah, that's our biggest takeaway in learning, I think, has been the ability to say no.
Yeah, that's a great one. Well, Ryan, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down for this conversation. It's been really valuable, and I really appreciate having you here. This is the segment of the show where I usually like to pause and give you a few moments to plug whatever is most important to you right now. You've provided so much value to me, to our listeners, our viewers. If there's a company, initiative, idea, you name it, what would you like to promote?
First, thanks for having me. It's great talking to you again. And, I think it was a great conversation. Hopefully your listeners take something away and can improve, what they're doing day to day. To plug a couple things, we have a couple new products that we're super excited about. I'd love to talk about them. First with Element, Element, if you're unfamiliar, I think we've won 18 plus High Times Cannabis Cup awards. We try to maintain a high level of consistency and quality through cartridges and concentrates. But most recently, we've put out our pre-roll. We had a lot of success with our live resin joints we put out. They're 50% live resin, 50% premium flower from some of Michigan's favorite cultivators. And the reason I think we had a lot of success with this is because it was the highest terpene tested pre-roll. They taste amazing. It's a great product, but this year we've brought out two new products. They just come out in the last week or so. So we have a THCA infused pre-roll, still same amazing premium flower, Instead of live resin, we've mixed it with THCA diamonds. So for consumers that are looking for a really strong pre-roll, this is the strongest pre-roll I think in the market. The last batch I saw come through here was 71% total cannabinoids and THC in the high 60s. So it's very
Wow.
strong. They burn for a long time. It's great to share with a group of people.
Wow.
And so, we're proud of that product, and it should be available almost everywhere. And the other one that we brought out right alongside it is our bubble hash infused pre-roll. Solventless concentrates are growing in popularity. So we thought we have the terpiest pre-roll. We have the strongest pre-roll now, and we thought we should make the hashiest pre-roll. So same formula, 50% bubble hash, 50% premium flower. So you still have a really strong natural product that has a super great flavor all the way through. Burns great, burns slow, great for sharing or keeping to yourself. So look for those everywhere from Element. Those are really great. The Rise product portfolio includes RSO Plus, which has been a huge success for us. It's a really great wellness product that people really seem to love. Alongside our tablets and tinctures, which we've had a lot of success with and have been great. But the newest thing we put out with that is our advanced cream, and which is a topical. It is unique to the market. A lot of topicals are made from, like a balm. They're sticky. They smell like cannabis. They'll tug on your shirts. While being effective, that doesn't really fit a lot of consumer lifestyles. If you're a professional or you're going to be in public, you don't always want a sticky shoulder or back or knee that's tugging on your shirt or staining your shirt that smells like cannabis. It can come off unprofessional if you're a doctor or a lawyer or a bus driver or whatever, and you're just trying to get relief. They don't get you high. They're not psychoactive for you, but they're extremely effective. So we developed a topical that is dry to the touch after application. It feels like you're rubbing water on your arm. It's a cream and it comes in a normal bottle. So it's dry to the touch. It doesn't stink. It doesn't smell. It's not sticky. And additionally, we've added THCA to it, which seemed like a huge miss and low-hanging fruit for all the topicals. THCA is the non-active form of THC, and it has huge anti-inflammatory benefits. It seemed like a no-brainer to add it to our topicals so that it immediately absorbs into your skin and you see a huge reduction in inflammation anywhere you apply it. So that product also just came out in the last couple of weeks and it's been hugely successful. So those are the two biggest things we put out recently. Other than that, Dream caramels have been very successful. Next week you'll see a chocolate enrobed caramel come out. Just like the Saunders caramel enrobed chocolates that you might be familiar with. We've taken our award-winning caramels and enrobed them in chocolate. The last one just won the High Times Cannabis Cup this year as Best Edible. So those hit stores on the 25th, and as well as 100 milligram version of that same thing. So higher potency level for that, and that really rounds out the recent round of innovation that we're putting out in the market. And we're really proud of these things. They should be available everywhere, if not today, shortly.
That's fantastic. No shortage of innovation, and everything you spoke to really aligns with everything we've talked about in terms of each thing has been a step up from the last, right?
Yeah.
How do we make this even better? How do we make it even better? And that seems to be the theme with you and with Lion Labs. So that's all really exciting. I appreciate you sharing all that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're excited about it. I mean, like you said, we keep moving the bar up. We're encouraging, our other counterparts to do the same. Let's elevate the industry together.
Love that. Great attitude too. Well, thank you, Ryan, for your time today. Again, always a pleasure getting to speak with you. Just a quick wind down of the show, a reminder of some takeaways. By focusing on quality, businesses can create a positive feedback loop where the company, its customers, and employees all benefit. I think we saw that firsthand today with Ryan and with Lion Labs. True commitment to quality really boosts customer retention, provides that competitive edge, and enhances profitability. It also uplifts employee morale and teamwork. Once again, Lion Labs being the prime example for this. It's easy to see through whether you're a customer or an employee, just lip service on quality. And it can harm customers and employee relations versus really showing up and really being there for quality. So while many companies claim a focus on quality, there is definitely a difference between just claiming it and actually living it. And that sincere commitment to quality can elevate an organization to new heights in various aspects, as we've all learned today. So I want to thank you all for listening and for watching the episode this week, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you so much.